Marhaba, and welcome to the Habibis, three game developers drinking good Arab tea. I'm your host for today, Fawzi Mesmar.
And I'm Osama Dorius.
And I'm Rami Ismail.
We
Did
took
you
a
like?
chance on that one, huh, Rami?
Yeah, we both rolled the dice.
Did you like my Saturday
That
morning
was
cartoon
such a
introduction
good
voice?
radio voice, Fawzi.
Fawzi, that was amazing.
That was too professional.
I've been rehearsing.
Yeah, you were just like after last week. You were like, got to do a little better than Rami did.
I better start working on my podcasting voice.
It's a very good podcasting voice.
I love how you said last week and not last episode.
Yeah. 2 weeks in a row.
Well,
Right?
depends on when this
Yeah.
episode comes out.
Well,
Don't
unless
count your
we
chickens
say,
before you lay them. Is that how you say it?
I don't know. I
Don't count your chickens before they hatch.
I
Yeah,
never
I like
count
that.
chickens, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, Osama, what is your podcasting voice?
But I don't have a podcasting voice. I don't practice unlike Fawzi. I just show up.
If you had to do like a radio voice, what would your radio voice sound like?
I guess it would sound something like this. How does it sound?
I like it.
Why, thank you.
Sounds the same, only slightly slower.
Yeah, exactly. He just slowed down his cadence.
I feel like he wanted to add a British accent and then changed his mind last second.
Wait, did I? That was unintentional.
No, you
Like-
didn't. That's the thing. There's a hidden intention, but it
Oh,
was
no.
never materialized.
It wasn't very well hidden, though. You found it right away.
I've been doing this podcasting business for a while, you know.
Yeah.
Top-notch work. Top-notch detective work. Detective Fawzi.
Detective Fawzi. It's like the sequel
Podcast
to
detective. Oh my god, what a game! It's
Oh,
an
I
audio
love
game.
it.
Detective Pikachu. It's the sequel.
I'm the Detective Pikachu.
Oh, I love it. You have to say, Fawzi.
Sorry.
What would you sound like as a Pokemon, though,
Oh,
Osama?
no. Osama.
Yeah, I like
that's right.
that. Sounds about right.
You have to say your name all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. You don't say anything else. Otherwise, you're Mew or something. There's only Mew that talks, right?
Yeah, Mewtwo.
Mewtwo. Sorry, that sequel.
Meowth also speaks.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
but that's
that's
one
true.
specific Meowth.
That's true.
Most Meowths don't speak.
That is true.
This is the deep Pokemon lore you're all here for.
Pokemon logic. Love it.
Fawzi.
Yeah,
It's like he said.
I'd probably just go really fast. I'll just be like, Rami.
I love it.
I can imagine myself being like a pink fluffy Pokemon,
Yeah.
a very short one.
I'm a cross between Snorlax and Jigglypuff.
So,
Fawzi-
Snorlax is pretty. Yeah, Snorlax and Jigglypuff. Which one is the one that hugs the most?
I think they neither do.
Neither.
neither
We
do.
need
One
another one.
sleeps, another puts you to sleep. Can you tell I'm tired?
Osama has that game developer life.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I don't know. Are there Pokemon that wear hats?
I just googled hugging Pokemon, and
Oh.
it's very wholesome.
Aw.
Good. I love it.
It's Ash hugging Pikachu as the first
Aw.
one, but then all kinds of Pokemons hugging each other. Oh no! Oh god! I shouldn't have scrolled down.
Maybe
Never
they'll
mind.
scroll too far. So that's the thing, Rami. The Pokemon don't have to wear hats. Ash wears a hat.
Right. But if you're going to be a Pokemon, doesn't the final evolution of Slowpoke wear a hat?
Does he? Let me
I
check.
think so. Like you had like Slowpoke, Slowking.
Slowking.
That's a
Slowking has a
hat.
hat.
That's a hat. I think it qualifies, unless it's like part of him.
No, it's technically I think it's the shelter that bites Slowpoke's head or
Yeah,
something.
it bites him on
Or
the
tail.
head. That's right. The
Yeah,
shell
counts.
has teeth.
Yeah.
It's like a face hugger, but that missed. It's perfect.
Yeah, but fashionable.
yeah, fashionable. I love
And
it.
kind of friendly.
They kind of look nice. They look very friendly. Yeah,
We need to do a deep dive Pokemon analysis podcast episode.
that's it. That's what we need. Well, we're doing it right now.
Right?
What was the last Pokemon game you played start to finish?
Oh god,
Start to
finish?
finish?
I don't finish
Yeah.
games, so I don't think I've ever finished a
I
What was
Pokemon.
the
think
last Pokemon game
Sapphire.
you sampled?
Sapphire was the last
Oh,
I finished.
Sapphire. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, for me, it was way older than that. I think
but it also depends. It depends on what is finishing a Pokemon game. Is it like just beat
Catch
the
'em all.
final battle or catch them all?
You have
Get
to
all
catch.
the gems. You know,
Get all the
let's
gyms.
let's make it simple.
Then I also did what was it called? Like I think it was later. X was later, right?
X, yes, as
Yeah.
3DS. Yeah,
So I
Sapphire
played.
was Game Boy Advance, I think.
I played X and
Yeah,
Sapphire. Um, I think I didn't. I think I didn't finish X, but I
yeah.
definitely did finish Sapphire. I did Silver. I did Blue.
Oh,
Basically, I always
okay.
go for the blue version.
Huh.
Yeah,
I haven't played a Pokemon since Pokemon Go. Don't judge me.
Pokemon Go is great.
It was a good
Yeah,
game.
it was, but it's
Still
like
is.
7 years old.
Oh
So
no, Sword and Shield.
Oh, you played Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I did play Sword and Shield. I did
You
like Sword and
finished it.
Shield. Yeah,
Ah, cool, man.
yeah, I
what
like
about
that
you,
one.
Fuzzy? Which one did you play?
I think the last one I finished was Let's Go Pikachu.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's Arceus
I didn't
on the
finish that one.
on the Switch.
It got
Yes,
overwhelming, that one.
yeah, it's good. It's a very unusual Pokemon game.
Yeah.
But Let's Go Pikachu because I think Yellow was my favorite, and I think it was my first Pokemon Yellow. So Let's Go Pikachu is a really nice walk down memory lane.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I know. I also played a bunch of the side games like Snap and Stadium.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, I
Uh,
did play one of the snaps, but I can't remember which one.
I didn't like the new Snap. They didn't capture it. It didn't have the vibe. You know. I don't even know what the vibe is, but it didn't have it.
It was missing something.
Yeah.
Right? You just can't put your finger on what,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
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 Sometimes when
Well,
you can't put your finger on it, it's just a number in an Excel sheet that was missing.
that's
Not
usually it.
always, but sometimes. It's a
Hey,
balance issue.
but what was you guys' first starter Pokemon?
Okay, I started late. I played the Game Boy, one of the first Game Boy Pokemons, but like 4 years after it came out.
I
Yeah, I
so
missed the
what,
hype.
so what Pokemon did you pick to start with?
I
This is the
don't.
important question.
Dude, do you forget how old I am? I don't remember. This is like a million years ago. I
Oh, so do
do.
you remember?
Pokemon Yellow was Pikachu.
Oh, you always pick Pikachu.
How do
Yeah,
you
or Squirtle.
remember?
Yeah, Squirtle. Okay. Fauzi and I have similar tastes in starting
Huh.
Pokemon. I've consistently picked whatever the water starter was. So
Why? I'm curious why.
I don't know. It's a vibe. You know,
Huh.
I don't know. Like I started with Squirtle, and it was Charmander or Bulbasaur or Squirtle,
Yeah.
and I picked Squirtle. And I think the earlier Pokemon games were basically designed with the starting elements as difficulty, like as
Hmm.
starting difficulty selectors, because the first gym was like a stone gym, if I'm not mistaken. So having water or grass helped, having fire worked against you. Water was like something it was strong against, grass I think was medium, and then fire it was hard. So it basically just changed the difficulty of the start of the game, I guess.
Hmm.
But yeah, I picked Squirtle, and then from that game on, I've always picked the water Pokemon. I picked the blue game. I picked this water starter. When the water starter is really silly or bad, I skip the game.
That makes sense.
Don't play
Okay, I
that
had
game.
to look at the box covers to see which one, and I got the yellow one.
Oh, you got Pikachu.
Yeah, I think it just because it was a recognizable one. The thing is, I had missed the hype on Pokemon for a few years. I just was like, what is this game? And then I saw people playing it, and they were telling me it was really good. And then I had a really boring retail job at the time. And so I had my Game Boy in my pocket, and playing Tetris with interruptions was so frustrating. When people come in and you have to like put it away and then serve them. But Pokemon was far less frustrating to play with interruptions.
Yeah.
So that's actually my first plunge into Pokemon. It was a
So-
game I played when there were no customers in the store.
So both of you picked a Pokemon that would wreck mine because that's an electricity type. Both of you got Pikachu then. So
Yeah,
me and my Squirtle are in trouble.
they're not super effective.
No.
A funny thing of friends of mine, they all had kids at some point in like very close proximity to each other. So I was visiting Berlin, and I brought each one of their kids. So each couple had a kid each. So there was 3 kids in total, and I came in with 3 starting Pokemon plushies as gifts for the
Experiment.
So now each of those kids, one had a Pikachu, one had a Squirtle, and one had a Charmander.
And
And
everybody hates Bulbasaur.
I mean, I mean, don't hate the players. Bulbasaur is all right, but I
Yeah.
mean, Bulba Bulba.
Mediocre.
But I mean, like
Mediocre.
compared to the other 3,
Yeah.
you
Hey, I
know.
agree. I agree. I just don't want to say it out loud in case, I get stopped at my next conference to be like, what's with the Bulbasaur hate? Fuzzy, this is something you should have learned after last episode. Sometimes saying something is good means that people think you say the other thing is bad. If you say like
Yep.
Jordanian kebab is the best, people might read it as Egyptian kebab is bad.
That's a good thing that we record ourselves and put it on the internet for everybody to interpret what we're saying.
Whether that's good or bad is
Anything they
debatable.
want.
Say.
That's
So
funny.
what? So did they fight over one of them, or was it just like each of them picked one?
So like now a couple of years have passed, and I think for the kids have grown, but it's still from what the parents are telling me is their favorite plushie. So
Aww.
I'm wondering if like for 3 to 5 years from now, like they will get into Pokemon and their parents will hate me or love me. Hard to say.
It's hard to say.
Well, but maybe like at that I will know what video game to buy their kids every Christmas. I'll just send them the latest Pokemon game.
That makes sense.
And I'm continuing with their kids' addiction. You're welcome.
It's funny. The last time a friend of mine got children, I actually got them a Switch with a Pokemon game, but for the parents.
Uh,
Because they don't have time to play games anymore.
That's true.
Of course.
Something to do. You can leave
course.
it. You can leave it on the side while you change diapers.
Exactly.
So I want to talk about that for just a sec.
Changing diapers.
Actually, not that, but the games that get you through having kids. There was one very unlikely game that got me through one of like my parental leave periods, and it was, believe it or not, Titan Quest. Do you
Wow.
either of you know about
Yeah.
Titan Quest?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So and it's not like I was looking for something like this, but at the time I was playing Titan Quest and I had one of my kids. I honestly can't remember who, which one, but Titan Quest has it's basically like a Diablo-like, action RPG with loot-based system and some choice of which character class that you have. And the really cool thing about it is that you don't choose one class; you always dual class. You choose 2 classes, and the combination of both the classes make a certain player type.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to keep playing Titan Quest, but you can't play Titan Quest while like giving a bottle to a baby. You need both hands. You need your one hand on the keyboard, one hand on the mouse, unless you're able to make a build that's just one hand, and then it
Huh.
works. And that's what I did. I just found basically a combination of archer and defensive character that allowed me to not need to press anything on the keyboard. I just had very few abilities and they were pumped to the max, and I was able to just move and shoot and what have you
Wow,
while
that's fun.
feeding.
What a
and while
game designer
cooking.
solution.
But the thing is, I challenged myself to do it. I'm like, well, if you're going to play this, you have 2 options: wait or make it work.
Yeah.
And I made it work. And so I started a new run with 2 new classes, and I got pretty far along until it became a little too difficult to play with that one run. But it was fine because by that time, that takes a long time when you have a baby. You don't have a lot of time to play.
I can
By
imagine.
that time, baby was able to hold their
If
own
you
bottle.
decided, if you decided to have another baby, I would recommend you play Lineage 2. What you're describing, because of that game, it's an MMO. It's a Korean MMO, and it has I don't know if you've ever played it, but it has a full, especially if you play it on mobile, it has a full auto mode, so you can
Yeah.
set your build, and then you can press play, and then the game will play itself for you.
Yep.
That's
And it
really
will
cool.
occasionally wait until you collect the loot. So it will pause on the loot. You make the selection, which is tap with one hand or with your nose, depending on how busy you are.
Yeah.
And then the game will continue to play itself. Your character will go do the quests, we'll loot, we'll engage in battles, we'll do everything, and you will watch it. It was one of those games, and a lot of my colleagues, when I used to be in Japan, we used to do that. We would have our phone on like a holder,
Mm.
And just
uh,
have the game running.
like by our computers, and we'll be working, and the game is like doing its thing.
That's
And
amazing.
every now and then, like every 15 minutes, I look at it, I tap a few taps, and then it continues to do its
It's
thing.
an idle game.
Pretty
I
good.
love this idle MMO.
But it's
Uh,
fully realized. So if you look
Yeah.
at it, it's like it's incredible graphics, like state of
that's
the art.
incredible.
Yeah.
So, on a related note, one of the funnest experience I had playing games with my friends was when we weren't playing the WWF games. And what I mean by that is they had a really, really like deep character customization system, especially for back then, for the Nintendo 64 days. Like you couldn't make yourself look exactly like yourself, but close enough that people were like, oh, you made this person. So we'd go over to each other's houses and spend the entire time making ourselves as characters, our friends, people that we know, sometimes famous people, and then watching bots fight each other
Right.
and like cheering on like ourselves or our friends or whatever. But we're not the ones playing. We're watching based on the combination of, oh, they'd have this stance and these moves, that's their finisher, and then seeing the combination come together and who would win and who's good against who. It was way more fun than it had any and any business being.
I think I used to do that as well. Just let games attract mode run. I kind of miss attract modes.
Yeah,
They were kind of fun.
yeah,
You
they
know,
were.
just stop back when Osama. I don't know what it is, but like every time you tell a story, it was like when I was having my first child, and it was a game I would play. You wouldn't imagine the game. Every time, like my brain just jumps. You kind of mentally brace. You're like, oh my god, what's gonna come here? And I'm just sitting here going like Doom Eternal. No, like what's it gonna be? And I'm just like, my brain has been off on this tangent of like, what is the least appropriate game
So
for when you have a kid? And I'm like,
okay, this
no.
is a hilarious thing, but at one point, I was playing Grand Theft Auto 4 while holding my son. And the thing is, way too young to understand what's happening.
Right,
Like way, way, way too young to understand what's happening. But my son grabbed the controller and started like just holding it, like didn't wasn't even just
right,
holding it. And I thought it was so funny that I called my wife in the room, who took a picture in the second that he just happened to be looking at the TV. But he's like looking around. He's not playing the
right.
game. But it looks like I have a picture of my son, like 2 months old, sitting on my lap, holding a controller, playing
Shooting some
GTA.
pedestrians with a bazooka.
Playing GTA 4, exactly. It's incredible. It was a picture, not a video. Otherwise, you'd
Right,
see that all he was doing is holding the stick and running in
right.
circles. But still, it looked like it was intentional.
Amazing.
Yeah. So that's your answer. That's the most
Yeah,
inappropriate
yeah.
game.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Uh,
Rami, I started playing Alan Wake 2.
oh, what do you think so far?
Ooh.
Dude, I'm hooked. I'm hooked in like 5 minutes. This
Yep.
is totally my kind. So I love Twin Peaks.
Yep.
So
Oh yeah.
I'm opening hour. So I don't know if it continues this way, but like it's a collection of a lot of like all the drama TV that I like to watch is that
Yep.
serial killer stuff. Check.
Yep.
The Twin Peak. Check.
Yep.
Small town U.S. weird folk.
Check.
Check.
Wow.
Synchronized coffee drinking. Check.
Synchronized.
What?
Yes, exactly. Lots of coffee drinking.
Yep.
I want to see the tech behind that.
I feel even the car shots feel like they were shot on one of those old fashioned like kind of green screeny things.
Yeah.
Right? It does like the what you're seeing out of the back of the car doesn't feel like it exactly fits what the driving is. And I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
they really went for it on this one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also, seeing Sam Lake in the game.
Yeah.
Amazing. Then Sam Lake doesn't sound like Sam Lake.
Right.
Also
That's
amazing.
it. Yeah, the Sam Lake character has a voice actor,
Yeah, as a
which
voice
is so
actor,
good.
which is very jarring for me.
Yeah. Yeah. If you know Sam, it's like, oh,
it's very funny. But I
Wait, you have to give more context. Who is
So
this person?
Sam Lake is the studio director, creative director
The
over at
creative
Remedy.
director in
Creative
Remedy.
director
Oh
over at
yeah,
Remedy. And he was originally, I think he was just the Max Payne character.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. So
Yes,
even if you
face.
yeah,
don't know him, he
you
is
know,
like you know him as Max
Yeah.
Payne.
yeah,
I actually know about this. I forgot his name. That's all.
right.
But I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're talking about
So
now.
in Europe, if you're working in Europe in games, you'll come across Sam.
Yeah.
yeah.
But yeah, so for Alan Wake, there's a character that is based on Sam, right?
Hmm.
And he is portrayed by Sam, and I'm fairly sure he's motion captured by Sam. And for the FMV character, for the FMV sequences, he's played by Sam.
Hmm.
But for all of it, he's voice acted by somebody else. So you're watching him talk, you're like, huh?
Yeah.
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah.
Like this is awesome.
Unsammy Valley. There we go.
But even if you've never met the guy, like you've played Max Payne, you recognize Max
Yeah.
as that character, has that sound, and then you play this game like, oh wait, it's Max Payne. Wait, no, it doesn't sound
Yeah.
like him.
That's exactly how I learned about this. Is that I saw him in the thing, and I'm like, wait, that person looks like Max Payne. No, and I looked it up. I'm like, oh my god. But this is like years ago. I've forgotten since then, but that's exactly it. And that's not the first time that happened.
No,
And of course, it's not going to be the last. But the main character in the ADOS game, Deus Ex, looks exactly like the art director from like the studio that did the reboot in ADOS in Montreal. Like, the same, except the person in the studio has a completely different accent and voice. So
no.
again, they got a professional voice actor to do this. But yeah,
Fawzi though.
Yeah.
Sam in Alan Wake 2 is voice acted by James McCaffrey, who also did Max Payne.
It's the same guy.
It's the same voice actor. It's
Oh,
the same
wow.
character.
Oh
Oh.
shit!
It's straight up Max Payne, just now renamed to his new name in the game.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
What is it? How long has it been since Max Payne? 20
Oh
years?
my god. Yeah, I was
Oh.
young for that.
I think it must have been like 20 years since Max Payne.
Yeah. When Osama, you're the elder. When was Max Payne?
Dude, because I'm the elder, everything blurs.
The
I don't remember. But you're right,
first
I am
game
the
of the series, Max Payne, was released in 2001.
Oh yeah.
I was 58 years old. My memory was already deteriorating.
I was 13.
22 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow.
I was 13, 22 years ago.
Oh, I was like 23, 24. Math is hard. It gets harder as you get older.
Oh no, it's
Yeah.
already hard.
Oh no.
You need to remember all these numbers.
Why bother?
But like really, like I'm hooked already on the
Mhm.
game. I like everything about it really, from the sound effect, from the atmosphere, the voice acting, the characters, the movement, everything is pretty solid. The one thing that's a little bit off for me is the facial animation tech.
Mm.
I don't know if you noticed that, or if it's just me, but like it's there's a mismatch between the VO and the lip sync as the characters speak.
Especially with Sam.
Yeah, that for sure. But I think at first I was like, is it the Uncanny Valley thing? But then I noticed it with the other characters too. That
Oh,
the lip syncing and the characters are not completely.
I didn't fully see.
100%.
I did not see that.
It's a very tiny thing.
Yeah,
It's a very very tiny thing.
either
It's
you're
not like a
sharper
big
or your TV is worse.
It could be.
Could be both. Could be both. Could be
My
both.
TV is honestly.
Fauzi, can I give you one very obscure hint for the game?
Yeah, do it.
When you come across the mop and the puddle, use
Yeah.
it as often as you can.
Okay.
Okay, this will make
Okay.
sense later. I promise.
Yeah.
But when
Okay.
you come across the mop and the puddle, use it. Use it liberally.
Oh, okay. I will. And I just
Okay.
looked it up. There was a bug that's been patched.
Oh, okay, good,
Yeah, there was a lip sync and there was some audio issues, and that's been
Okay.
patched. Yeah.
cool. Nice. That's good because
because I started playing the game, and I now know why. Because I started to play when it was ready to play, so it was probably
mm,
patching as I was playing.
yep,
So that's why I experienced it.
long
Yeah.
live technology.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Another case open and
Yeah.
closed by
Detective
podcast
Fawzi.
podcast detective. Lip sync issues. Got it sorted.
Fawzi will figure it out.
Love it. Love it.
Um, yeah. Beyond that, did I do anything? I
Yeah. But I'll talk a lot more about Alan Wake, I think, next time. But I
yeah.
finished Spider Man. I
Oh,
finished the whole
cool.
game.
How was
Yeah.
it? How's the ending? Well,
No,
without
no,
spoiling.
without spoiling,
Did it land the ending, basically?
the story landed. Like
Okay,
the story is good, start to finish. I
good.
encountered a lot more of the stuff that you mentioned last time,
Yeah,
Osama, that like kind of takes you off of the experience. There was
yeah,
a bunch of stealth sequences. I was like, oh, why are we doing this? Can I just
yeah.
please go back to swinging around and
That's when
uh,
that lineage mode would have come in handy. Just like play it for me. I'll watch.
yeah,
I don't mind. I'll do something else at the same
yeah,
time. But
yeah,
yeah, like it's not
uh,
that I don't want the story. It's just that the gameplay during that time is not fun, and
yeah,
like it's not helping me stay engaged. I'd rather doom scroll while it plays in the background the way I usually watch movies. Don't
yeah.
judge me, right? And then I go back to the action, and then I'm fully engaged.
There was a couple of boss battles. I didn't understand why. Like the boss will start. You will see the boss health bar. You
Hmm.
know, you will fight the boss.
Hmm.
The stealth bar would go to zero. Sorry, the health bar would go to zero. I said
Hmm.
stealth bar. uh, and then a cutscene would happen, and then you're fighting a boss again, the same
Right.
boss. And sometimes you do that like three times, and it's not like a new phase. Sometimes it's literally the same boss, and you just fight three
Yeah.
times.
Makes sense.
Well,
Yeah.
I haven't played that game. So I'm weird in that I kind of bounced off of the first one, and I feel like the second one is similar to the first one.
Oh yeah. You bounced
So
off the first one.
yeah, I kind of bounced off the first one. I played it for probably like halfway through the game, and then I was like,
Hmm.
okay, yeah, sure, cool, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's okay.
There's a few games that I would probably like. If I just keep it on, I would probably platinum it. If I didn't
Yeah,
want
Right.
to jump over to Alan Wake, just because being in the open world is so much fun.
it
Well,
is.
that
It
was the
is.
thing. I really enjoyed the swinging around and like
Yeah.
sort of like but like then whenever it went to something else, I just liked that less.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get you.
That makes
It
sense.
goes to combat, I'm like, eh. It goes to
Oh,
like stealth, I'm like, eh. It
I
goes to like
liked combat and stealth. It was like the
Yeah.
actual stealth, your Spider-Man stealth, not the
right.
Yeah.
whatever. But it's interesting. Is there a reason they didn't like the combat specifically? Because you're
Yeah,
not the only person I heard say that. A lot of people said it felt too automatic. Uh,
yeah. It felt both prescriptive and guided.
yeah,
And then like you look at my work, you can see that for me, like sort of like this sort of like expressive agency in combat is a really big part of what I like.
yeah, that makes
I
sense.
just completely didn't have that vibe in Spider-Man. I was like, okay, I'll press this button and then this button and then this button and then the cool thing happens. Great.
Hmm.
Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Um, and like like I think for Spider-Man, what I wanted was, I feel like I want creativity in
Yeah.
how I dispatch of things, and it just didn't feel like I got that.
That's
Mhm.
very fair. To me, I
Fair.
see the combat in like the Arkham games because it's basically the same thing as Spider-Man. Spider-Man is
Mm-hmm.
just like different flavor of that. I see it as a cross between Tekken and QuickTime events. like
That's quite a combo.
yeah, but I mean, like there are moves. They do things. If they connect, they will do other things that will allow you to chain other things. That's on the Tekken side,
Yeah.
right? It's less like Street Fighter where it's like you do a move and then you have a window where you could cancel into other move, and it's more of a dial-up combo. Like there's if you input these things will happen. Like the input buffers are a little bit generous for that
Right.
mechanic. But on the other side, it's QuickTime eventy. Like we are throwing these things on the screen at you in this order, and you have to press this within this time frame. Is like
Mm-hmm.
how it feels. The difference is instead of having Y, what I have is a person with a yellow baton moving towards you and slowing down as they approach you, giving you that window to press Y. It's the same
Right.
thing, except it's not as prescriptive. The difference is, like, again, going back to Tekken, it's a little bit more 3D. Tekken's a bad example because it
Yeah.
has only a single target, while this has multiple targets that you move
Yeah.
from. So it's like in between. If you analyze it that way, it's easier to see which parts of combat interest you and which parts of combat
Yeah.
don't interest you. Because like, I don't like just quick time events. I don't think they're very engaging. But this quick time event with a layer of intentionality above it, even though I like Street Fighter is my game, like that's my fighting game that I really like, and
Hmm.
this is nothing like it. There's enough there for me to be really into it, and the visual like reward that you get out of succeeding is fulfilling enough that I love it. And I really think that Spider-Man lends itself better to the Arkham combat than Batman. And it worked well for Batman. It works better for Spider-Man because he is bouncy and he can pull you close and he can do. He's more elastic, and this lends
Yeah.
itself a lot more to elasticity. So I actually, I'm not normally a fan of, hey, they did this thing and it works, let's use it, unless it fits the problems that we want to solve.
Better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And this just fits. It fits so well that I'm a big fan from a design, like just
Right.
from my design mind.
Yeah.
And playing it, it just so happens it checks all the boxes.
It's a
And
big
sorry for all those words.
appreciation. It's a big appreciation for what like Arkham Asylum is, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm enjoying Spider-Man 2 this year, like there's a lot to be owed to like how much Arkham Asylum did for the industry, really.
Yep.
Like that game is so monumental and so influential.
Yep.
It showcased in so many video games since,
Yep.
and it came out like 2007, I want to say.
Osama, you're the elder.
When I was an old man, it came out when I
Yeah.
was an old man.
You were
But
like in your teenage years when that game came out.
2009.
2009.
yeah, yeah,
2009.
yeah.
Yeah, so
So
it's even before Alan Wake 1.
I like that we keep asking our elder and then googling it at the same time and then
Uh,
it's
just
all a
being faster
blur.
with Google.
It's all a blur. It's worse.
Yeah, I
Okay,
mean,
so
like
this is
he
the
needs
thing.
to like, still like find his glasses.
Yeah,
Like,
he opens the dictionary of video games that he has this book form.
Volume 3. Because,
Yeah, yeah.
so that's the thing. It did change things a lot in terms of gameplay, but it also changed things in terms of the market and business in ways
Mhm.
that a lot of people, like youngins like you folk, have forgotten. Like there, there
Hey,
was
I
a
remember
time.
Batman on PS1.
Yes, there was, but you have to remember that almost every Batman that came out before Arkham Asylum was a movie or cartoon tie-in. There was a market that existed before that doesn't exist anymore, where it's movie tie-in games. It almost doesn't exist anymore. There's barely anything like it anymore. Where the budget for these games came out not from development budgets, but from marketing budgets for those movies. They almost didn't care if the games made a profit or not. What they wanted is those games to take up shelf space at Walmart so that people recognize the game. It was buying billboards. So
You're
those
right.
games generally had very low budget. They were quick to go to the bargain bin. They were mostly low quality. Rarely were they even good quality, and they were never full price. There was
Yeah.
an entire market of these like placeholder games, like almost a game where you play 2 or 3 huge games in the year, and these are going to tide you over until those games come out, and might introduce a story element or two from the movie that's coming out that you weren't aware of, because there's more story in those games. They're longer, right? That kind of thing.
I
And
would say the
Arkham killed
battle.
that market,
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Though,
but it
like
created
I,
a
I
new
agree
one.
with everything you're saying,
Yeah.
except that Batman Returns on the Super Nintendo is actually pretty good.
I am not saying they were all bad. There were a couple of X-Men games that were really good as well, and a handful of them were not movie tie-ins, or they were just licensed.
Listen, I
Yes.
will not hear anything while Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters exists. Like that
Yes.
is just one of the
That
best games of all
was a
time.
good game, but that was to a degree a cartoon tie-in, is what I'm saying. Like the games that are games for themselves, there were a few. Sorry, the games that were based on IP and that were just a game in and of themselves, there were a few of them. But the majority of those games, the majority of them were tie-ins with movies, and that market just it's so removed now, because now people have so many games to choose from. They don't need those games that tide them over. They can even play free games on on their phone. Like even Netflix competes with it. But back then, that wasn't the case. It just wasn't.
Uh, and also, I would say that now with AAA development being as difficult and expensive and huge as it is, I
Yep.
think it's even more and more difficult to be able to time a game development with the movie release date. You know, like
Right.
Exactly.
they used to
Quality
come out
requirements are
within the
too hard.
same window.
Yeah.
I think like the closest I came to that was when I worked at Gameloft. Actually, Osama. I think
Huh.
the same around the same time you were.
Yeah.
We were working on the game tie-in for Amazing Spider-Man 2 that was
Yeah.
about to come out, and the movie was still under production.
Yeah.
And, and at the time, they flew. Marvel wasn't part of Disney, and the script was in a room closed. So they flew me to where the script was. It was chained to the table, and like you're not allowed to take your phone or anything. You have a notepad, and you go in, and you're in that room. The door closed. I'm in that room for like a couple of hours. I read that script. I make the notes, and then I take those notes back with me to the team
Yes.
to make the game.
Yes.
And like
And
back then,
meanwhile, the
like
script can change too.
the
So that's
script
the
can
interesting
change, the
part.
movie can change, and also
Yeah.
the game could change because it's game development.
Of
So
course.
and for a lot of these games it was trying to create like the best game possible while the thing is being made
Yep.
with the communication channels that we even had back then. So it's
Yeah.
it's a thing.
It's
But I would
very
say, like, on the topic of like speaking of like Super Nintendo superhero games, I would love for a DLC for Spider-Man to be Maximum Carnage.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And
they
for
have
this one it would really fit too.
for this one, it works really well.
That was a
So
good Spider-Man game. It
it's a good
was.
Spider-Man game.
So that's the thing. Asterix, because I played it a million years ago. I don't know how well it holds up now, but it was great when I played it. Yeah.
I wonder.
I
Rami,
don't
did you
know.
play anything since we've last
I
spoken?
mean, Baldur's Gate and Destiny.
Yeah.
Now,
Like,
now we added Baldur's Gate to the rotation.
Yeah.
yeah, well, I mean, Destiny is exciting for a few weeks. New season started, but I think we'll keep that for a future episode where I can properly orate about the beauty of Destiny to
Mm.
for at least 10 minutes because we don't
Yes,
have 10
please.
minutes anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 just remains just incredibly impressive. So I think a mutual friend of ours, Faris Atiyah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
has been playing Baldur's Gate 3, but he has choice paralysis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Oh
gets very
no.
overwhelmed by too many choices.
Oh
So
no.
for the first few days that he was playing, I would hop in a stream. He would stream his PlayStation to mine, and I would hop in the stream and watch him play and just sort of like, guide him through difficult choices.
Yeah.
Wow.
But
You
he's
make a
now,
call for him.
yeah, or like just sort of explain what the consequence might be because that's kind of what he was scared of. Like, what
Yeah.
if I do it wrong? He played Divinity before this, and in Divinity, you could
Okay.
really get your game stuck. You
Yeah.
know,
You
you
can.
you could really get in a situation where you just didn't make the right choices, and Baldur's Gate 3 catches that so elegantly. And now that he's been
Mhm.
playing a few days, now he's just sending me like giant stories. And the beauty of it is I don't recognize most of them,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right? Like it's just completely different game. He's playing a bard. Another friend of mine, she's playing a like a tiefling, like
Yeah.
I'm playing a human paladin, and like everybody who talks to me about this game is just talking about a completely different game, and
It feels
it's
like this
just
is the biggest difference between it and Divinity 2, in which like Divinity 2, there's some FOMO, but you can see most of the story beats.
yeah,
Whereas in Baldur's Gate, what I'm hearing is that you could really miss, like, people are playing wildly different games, not
just
only because of the
completely.
characters, but also because of the choices they make.
Yep. Yeah, completely different. Like it's bonkers. It's really really impressive. I think maybe as we get to the end of the year or past the end of the year, if the two of you play a bit more of it,
Yeah.
um, we'll talk a bit. We'll compare stories, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
that's for a
getting
future
there.
time.
But like it is. Unfortunately, I'm on a lot of boards that review games for like end
Yeah,
of year things, so that's
same.
taking up all my game playing time, and I'm enjoying it. I'm not complaining. It's just that you know how it is.
Yep,
Like, I
I
can't wait to get
sure
to the
do.
part where I'm choosing what I'm playing instead.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we need to wrap this up because we're a bit short on time today, and Osama needs to run.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But well, let's talk a bit more about this next time. But it's good that we're like with close proximity. I'm happy we're back to this actually.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is so nice.
this is cool. I'm loving it. Anyway, for next time, if you since we're doing this more frequently, knock on wood, inshallah, we'll be
Inshallah,
coming back with
inshallah.
more Habibis. Please join us next time. But for in the meantime, please send us emails. It'll make Osama happy
I
by
love
sending them at
emails.
info@habibis.com. He loves emails.
It
You
really
can also
does.
he really does. You can also join our Discord at discord.thehabibis.com. And we'll be right back in your ears with more Habibis soon. But for the time being, salam.
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 That was the Habibis podcast for this week. I am Fawzi Masmar, your host for this episode. You can find me on Twitter at Fawzi Masmar. My fellow Habibis were Osama Dorias, who you can find on Twitter at Osama Dorias, and Rami Ismail, who you can find on Twitter at THA_Rami. Send us your questions, stories, and suggestions via info@thehabibis.com. Intro and outro music was provided by Malik Zubayla, and the logo was provided by Ibrahim Hamdi. The Habibis is a weekly podcast about 3 game developers drinking good Arab tea, with new episodes launching every Friday, inshallah. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe to your favorite podcasting service, or check out thehabibis.com for more information. Thank you for listening. Salam.